student information, and I can scroll through to see the information that's coming back and forth. Next to a message, you're going to see a little bubble that will say show translation. So let's just say, as an example, you want to see what this looks like in that family's home language, Portuguese. I can click that and actually review what it looks like for the family when they receive that message. If the family is using a text message, you will see that it will indicate that the message was sent. If the family is using an app, it will indicate read. So whether or not they're using the app or the text message will let you know how that message was delivered. And if it was the app, it will let you know if they've read that text message. So we've looked at a direct message. Let's look at announcements. I'm going to click on announcements here. I can view all of the announcements that I have sent or some that I have scheduled, or I can click on the actual class. So we just sent this announcement saying today your child will bring home a permission slip. Please read, sign, and return by Friday. Right here on the bottom right-hand corner, you can click on the check mark, and if the family is using an app, it will let you know what families have read the message. And if it's using a text message, it will let you know which families the message was sent to. So since we've sent a message and an announcement and we've looked at them, I want to do this one more time with you just so you can see the process and the workflow and how easy it is. I'm going to hit new message. I'm going to send a direct message. This time I'm going to send a direct message to Leo Jaramillo. He has 3 contacts. I'm going to choose all 3 contacts. I'm going to think about the message that I want to send. And I'm going to go ahead and choose this template. I want to let Leo's family know that he did an excellent job today staying focused in class. And please let them know that he is trying his best. I'm going to go ahead and send. So I did 3 clicks. I chose my recipients, my message, and my sent. And now you're going to see that message right here. So if I click on Leo Jaramillo, I can see the message that I sent. Right here, I can see where it says show translation. One thing that will become available is you'll be able to see a little question mark. So if Leo's family is speaking Spanish and they felt like the translation wasn't quite obvious, they can hit that question mark and it will have a human translator come in and review that message. So all of our messages are first translated by a machine, but then a human translator comes in, reviews any messages, and then that helps our algorithm for translation. If I click on the 3 dots, I can view the student's details like I showed you before. So I can see the information that's connected to Leo. Or as a teacher, I can download my conversation. So if I know that I'm going to have a meeting, or if I know that the family has requested data that's associated with their student, I can go ahead and download that information. In addition to being able to send messages or announcements, or view your message and announcements, you also have access to your analytics page. This is going to give you important information about how you're communicating with your families. So by default, it'll be all classes, but you can actually scroll down and choose a specific class or a specific date range. So right now, I can see how many direct messages I've sent to my families, how many announcements I've sent, and how many families have been reached by my announcements. So if I'm really thinking about engaging in two-way conversation, this chart is an excellent tool. The yellow indicates the announcements I've sent out. The blue indicates total messages. So what I can start to do is really think about, am I engaging in two-way conversation, or is it me sending one-way conversations? So if you notice that the yellow is much higher than the blue, you might start thinking about what are some messages that will start engaging my families and having them respond or initiate conversations with me. You can also look at your family details. So you can see how many students you have associated with you within the talking points and how many family contacts you're communicating. It will also give you an indication of the languages that your families are speaking. If any families have invalid phone numbers, So if our goal is to reach every family within our rostering, this will let you know that, hey, 3% have invalid phone numbers and may not be receiving my information. You can also identify what families have unsubscribed. So if a family writes goodbye on that text message, they will no longer receive any messages from Talking Points. When this happens, you'll see a banner at the top of your screen letting you know that this family has unsubscribed. That banner will stay there until you dismiss it. And then finally, you can see what families are using text messages and what families are using our free and optional family app. So that family app is optional, but it has a lot of advanced features that many families find useful, especially if they're new to the US education system. So in that family mobile app, families have the option for text to speech or speech to text. They also have the option for an educational glossary. So for instance, we may be using terms that families are not familiar with, like IEP. That glossary will allow families to find the definition of those terms. If a teacher is using the teacher mobile app, then the teacher can send out a video to families, and in the family mobile app, they'll be able to see a transcribe in their home language of what the teacher is saying within that video. As we move down the left-hand bar, we're going through sending a message, viewing the announcements and the messages you sent, looking at your analytics, and then finally, your classes. Since we are synced with Clever to Infinite Campus, all of your classes will be rostered for you. You do not need to roster any students into a class. So when I click on classes, I should see my school here, and below, I will see the classes that I have rostered in Infinite Campus. So I can click on Math Group 1 and see my students who are rostered to me. So I'll see the student's name. I can see their contact information, so how many contacts are coming in, their relationship, and what language they prefer to be spoken to when sending those messages. If I click on this little bubble here, I'm able to see the messages that are happening with me and that family. I'm going to come back to this group. There's 3 dots here. If I click on that, that will look at the student's information. I can copy a class, or I can make any changes. Generally, we always say any changes should be made in your SIS. You're not seeing the same options I have here. It's because your district can look at each school and make sure that the teachers have the appropriate permissions. I'm going to go ahead and click on Math Group 2. Here, I'm going to click on Duckery. I can see the classes, I can see the contact information, and I can see their home language. So now you have access to all of your students. If I click on classes here, I can search for a student within one of my classes. Now let's say you've added classes that are in addition to your roster classes. You can hit down this drop-down menu, and any added classes you can add. So right now, all of your classes are rostered for you. But let's just say, as an example, you want to create a group of students that you're meeting with for tutoring. If you come over to manually added classes, if you've manually added those classes, you should see them right there. So let's say, as an example, I click on classes. I can add a class, and let's say I want this class to be after school tutoring. I can select the grade level. If it's multiple grades, I can hit other and hit create. Once I've done that, I can hit add students. Because you already have students rostered to you, you would hit add existing students, hit this drop-down menu, and select the students you want to add for after school tutoring. Let's say I don't see that student here right away. I can type in the name of the student and select them. Eventually, we're going to have a feature where your principal can upload an ID, a CSV with student IDs on it, and create groups so you don't have to always do this manually. And then you hit add. So right now, what I do is I have my classes that are rostered to me within Infinite Campus. but I also have my manually added classes. So if I want to manage my homeschool tutoring or I put homeschool, but I meant after school. So let's just say I need to make that change. I can come over here, rename, instead of homeschool, let's go ahead and call that after school tutoring. And I can hit save. So if I want to message these families, I can hit send an announcement right here within that class, or I can come up to new message, class announcement, choose the after school tutoring, and I can go ahead and write that message. And I want to ask them a question. Will your student need to ride the bus after tutoring? Then I can choose the poll and go ahead and hit send. This will be sent to all of the families within this class that I created. I can come over to announcements and actually see after school tutoring right there. And as the families get this message, I'll see their responses. So when the students who respond yes, I'll see those students and then be able to make the appropriate accommodations. I want to thank you for joining me today. There's a lot of features that are still available to you within Talking Points, but I want to keep this video short and brief so that you understand how you can start communicating with your families within 3 clicks. Thank you.